Teaching is an opportunity to impact lives of numerous children. In order to do so, however, one must have an idea of how they would like to conduct their classroom. As a teacher, I will embrace the diversity of my classroom, incorporate learning methods in order to meet my students' needs, and I will be a reflective teacher so as to make certain that my students are getting the best education. After learning about the 5 philosophies of education, I would have to say that I agree the most with John Dewey and his philosophy of progressivism. I believe that structure is necessary, but there should also be focus on the students and their interests. I believe that although content is important, education is also about being able to apply what you learn to real life situations. I also believe that Gardner's theory of multiple intelligences should be implemented into classrooms today. I understand that every child learns differently and that there are several ways to teach them in order to meet their learning needs. Whether it is naturalistically, interpersonally, kinesthetically, or one of the other 8 multiple intelligences, I will do my best as a teacher to incorporate as many of these learning methods in each and every one of my lessons. I, as a teacher, will also encourage my students to embrace their individuality. I have realized just how much diversity there is and how much of it comes into effect when creating a safe classroom environment. In my classroom, I will emphasize to my students the importance of embracing their heritage. Developing relationships with my students and understanding their cultural backgrounds is a necessity. Stereotypes and generalizations will not be tolerated in my classroom, and I will work hard to make sure that students accept not just their own backgrounds, but other people's as well. Cultural and gender differences, favoritism, and biases of any kind can all cause students to feel unsafe in the classroom and thus makes them more reluctant to learn. Therefore, I will have a zero tolerance policy in my classroom for any kind of favoritism, bias, or discrimination. I believe in treating all people equally no matter who they are or what culture they come from, and will encourage my students to do the same. Being a reflective teacher is an important skill to have. Being able to learn from mistakes, reflect on past lessons, and correct what went wrong is essential to being a reflective practitioner and will be a top priority to me. I expect to make mistakes because I am only human. However, I will use these mistakes as building blocks to becoming a better teacher for my students. I want to learn as much as my students learn. I believe that just as my students grow, I should grow with them. An open mind makes for a great teacher, so I plan on coming into my classroom every day with an open mind, ready to learn something new every single day. I want to continue to learn more not only about my students, but also about how best to conduct my classroom in general. To summarize, as a teacher, I will use as many different learning techniques as I can, be mindful of each and every one of my students' cultures, and I will continue to learn and grow from being a reflective teacher. I will create a safe and welcoming learning environment for my students and set high expectations for them and help my students to achieve their goals. I intend to conduct my classroom with great Christian leadership and be a lifelong learner as well as a teacher.